Okay, remember they're changing my voice. Revelation 12 is about a bunch of nerd stuff, but there's important ideas there. It doesn't matter what the stars seem to be saying, allegories and stuff like this aren't so important. What is important, okay, is the Royal African Falcon Martial Art Order. Your understanding of the stars, their tree of knowledge understanding means nothing to God Almighty. You being moral, right? The tree of life, righteousness is life. That's what matters to God. The way, the truth, the life. The foundation of God's throne, righteousness and justice. Romantic justice. This stuff matters. So in Revelation 12, the woman and the dragon, it says, a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. Okay? The idea as it relates to the stars and to heavenly bodies isn't so important, other than the message of God's glory in the heavens, which is not going to be understood with a telescope and trying to understand constellations and stuff like this. But it is going to be understood by the righteous person looking up and perceiving with his sensitivity to injustice the heavens. Okay, basically everyone else, when they see the heavens, they just see stars and something that seems pretty or something. Or I see the glory of God because I've done what God wanted, which is to be righteous and just over a long period of time, every step of the way. So a great sign appeared in heaven to the righteous, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 10 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on its heads. Remember, the heads are the kings and kingdoms, horns are worldly strength points, and crowns are signs of mastering evil things, right? So they're the king of rape and illusion and psychology and evil things that people use to abuse people. Its tail swept a third of the stars of the sky and flung them to earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth so that it might devour her child the moment he was born. Again, the tail can literally stand for the story. One way or another, his actions, right, caused a lot of people who would otherwise be good to be flung to the earth is one way to interpret this. But it's not so important. What is important is that the devil, okay, masters things in life and gets people to do it his way. And it's mostly coming from the whites, Jews, and LGBT communities' cultures, okay? I can't stress that enough because they went out of their way to confuse that, even going as far as to change my voice and fume and poison me and provoke me every day and edit my videos and the way I look and so on and so forth. Who knows, they might even edit the words in the future. She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter. And her child was snatched up to God and to his throne. Now, if you're some kind of geek, are you going to be described as ruling with an iron scepter? If you're some kind of frat boy, some kind of jock, no. This is a righteous warrior description, right? Psalm 2, he dashes to them to pieces like pottery, okay? A warrior spirit, martial spirit. She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter, and her child was snatched up to God and to his throne. From the heavenly realm, he will rule. And anyone who rebels is going to be dashed to pieces like pottery and suffer in eternal fire, and the smoke from their torment will rise forever and ever. The eternal disgrace from not being right with God, from being judged by God when you meet your maker and his faithful there with him, and the top martial artist ever at his right hand, that's me. There's no other logical way to interpret it. The woman fled into the wilderness to a place prepared for her by God, where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. What is more pronounced in the Bible that the angels have done than fighting with the devil? It is a martial art order. You could argue that a martial artist is also a cook when he cooks for himself. He's also, if he has kids, he's also a father. If he works in the house, he's also a craftsman. But he's first and foremost a martial artist. It's a martial art order. Okay. 8, but he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. So what does he do? He leads the world astray. We went over in Matthew 4 how Jesus was tempted, right? He tempts people with things that he controls in the world, like careers, like dating opportunities, social media, schools, networks, what have you. He tempts them, okay? And he tries to get them to not be moral. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Messiah, for the accuser of our brothers and sisters who accuses them before our God day and night has been hurled down. The authority where? In the martial art realm, the spiritual realm, in reality. Not in terms of art as an illusion. Art is in the art of masterfully moving in the Spirit of God in reality. They triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, by the action of their action-based testimony, okay, by joining in the spirit of being a martyr, okay. They did not love their lives enough as to shrink from death, okay. Everyone who thinks that Christianity is some kind of bootlicker, middle-class white religion, write down Revelation 12:11 and put in parentheses afterwards, Hebrew is an Afro-Asiatic language, okay. They triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb, by becoming one in the spirit of martyrdom for God, with Christ, with me. They triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives enough as to shrink from death. They did not love their lives enough as to shrink from death. One rapper once said that he's a hog who never shrank to fit. Psychiatrists are called shrinks. We see it again and again in culture, okay? They want you to shrink, to be their slave, little punk, instead of rise up and man up and be a man who obeys God. That's why when David said to Solomon on his deathbed, he said, be a man and obey God. Be a man and obey God. Not be a man and be a craftsman. Not be a man and conform. Not be a man and shrink to fit, but be a man and obey God. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury because he knows his time is short. So those who are in the world, in their, the sea can be the nations, the peoples, the languages. We see that in Revelation 17, I believe it is. It describes the body of water this way. It can be the state that they're in, right? They're drinking, scorn for God like water, as it points out in Job. That's another usage of it. Okay, so the sea is like your state of being, your will, your the water of your life. Okay, the water of your spirit. Okay, the water of your essence. Okay, life is short, and outside the divine order is pitiful, and studying this makes it clear. When the dragon saw that he had been hurled to the earth, he pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child. The woman is, the idea of a grouping of people that gave birth to the child. We see daughter Zion described as a woman. We see Babylon described as a prostitute. Okay, so the righteous woman, is being used as an example to describe the point of giving birth. A nation, not a nation in this sense. Not America, not Mexico, not France, not Ethiopia. It is a people in a certain state of mind, in a certain spiritual state. Okay, so the dragon is trying to pursue anybody who is like me. Okay, and the dragon is Satanism. It is the cultures of the world. Okay, it is the things that lead the world astray, because Satan leads the whole world astray. Okay. The woman was given the two wings of a great eagle so that she might fly to the place prepared for her in the wilderness, where she would be taken care of for a times and a half, out of the serpent's reach. So the eagle is not the eagle of America. That's how occultists might interpret it, or the eagle of Rome. They superimpose these things. It is, the birds flying in the heavens, right? It is the idea of traversing to the heavens, right? It's like a hawk, a falcon in this context, right? As interpreted correctly. Okay, so it's taken to the wilderness, which represents, I think in this one, it's fair to say that it's, because they're talking about water already, it represents the fertile land, right? The essence of the fertile land, the spirit essence of the fertile land, okay? Then from the mouth, the serpent spewed water like a river to overtake the woman and sweep her away with a torrent. There's also parallels in my life where I live in the wilderness-ish, on a ranch and so on and so forth. Okay, so then from its mouth, the serpent spewed water like a river to overtake the woman and sweep her away with a torrent. The serpent is reproducing the unfaithful, okay, and their spirits, and they're trying to, outnumber, right? Gog and Magog situation, kind of outnumber the righteous, okay? But the earth helped the woman by opening its mouth and swallowing the river that the dragon had spewed out of its mouth. Then the dragon was enraged at the woman and went off to wage war against the rest of her offspring, those who keep God's commands and holds fast to their testimony about Jesus. Now, if you're a dumbass, you look at this in terms of, I want a more thorough occult explanation, that's fucking retarded. Then you're the child of the devil. Good riddance. You have no business telling the children of God that they should keep their mouths shut and listen to a bunch of fucking devils. Okay? Who cares how you interpret it? Who cares if your ancestors wrote it and you have the fucking codex or something? That does not matter. You're talking about righteousness. That is my realm, not yours, you worm. Back down, Satan. I'm above you.